What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Mindful Reality, the channel that covers reality TV from a mental health perspective. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Listen, my apologies for the channel cutting me off sometimes. I have zero control over that. Never have, and I never will. It's just a matter of, you know what it is? You know what it is? Could be a combination of things. One thing is that I'm usually doing this on the go because it doesn't cut off obviously on Wi-Fi. Like when I'm on Wi-Fi, we good. But when I am out traveling, when I say traveling, I mean moving around in the car, I'm at the mercy of whatever the reception happens to be in that area, which means it's gonna cut in and out. The quality is gonna be up and down. So um, the apology is just for the fact that y'all aren't able to see me when that happens. Me doing or fix that, I can't. There's nothing I can really do, but I do know how it is when I get into somebody's live or something, and all of a sudden it just cuts off. So sorry about that. I spoke again it had to be about 15 minutes. It's not like it was a super long live, but it was more than 3 minutes, 15 minutes, and then it cut off at 3 something, and I didn't even realize that till I looked at the comment section, because at this point in time, I rarely look back at my videos to see what I've done or to watch them again. I just kind of do them and they're done. But when I saw the couple of comments under there that said the video cut off, I went to go look and I was like, 3 minutes? I was a little bit pissed with that. I don't go on here to just talk and then it doesn't show up when I speak. It's not a good look. Anyways, good morning, Marshall. So what I was saying, I hope that it lets me get this whole thing out. Again, it won't be long, but it will just have the information that I gave yesterday. I'm going to be leaving to go to Albany. Albany, for those who don't know their geography, I'm not going to act like I'm the greatest person at geography, but I'm just saying there's people who have contacted me from Rochester or Syracuse or Buffalo and been like, hey, Mark, I'm in New York, let's meet up. And I'm like, hate to break it to you, but I'm in New York City. You're in New York State. You're like at the border by my grandma. And I am 4, 5, 6 hours away, depending on what part of the state it is. But so this year I went to like 3 to 4 different conferences with the Office of Mental Health being present at those events. I know people's names now, I know their titles, and I've discovered that it's not quite what I thought it was. So I just what it is. Yeah, what it is a combination of people. Some people who have been at jobs like mine, who elevated, upgraded, whatever you want to call it, and other people who never have been in a job. And let me explain what I mean. We have different programs for people for mental health rehabilitation. And there's some people that are a part of the administration that creates policies for these programs that got their start working at those programs. So they have a ground level view and idea, right, of um, a ground level view or idea, sorry, about what those programs operate like and how those policies will look in real life, right? And some people have never been in those programs, so they're making the policies. It's just like when you encounter a job, right? And people make goals for the job. Are you still there, Marshall? By the way, because if it's cut off, then I'm not going to continue. I would continue back when I get on Wi-Fi or something. Oh, there we go. Okay, so it's just like when you're at a job, right? There's the C-suite. Okay, let me break it down in a simple way. There's the administrative team. Everybody knows there's administrative team, which does not deal with the people directly at all, right? Then there's the middle management, who administration relays things to the middle management, which is like your supervisor, whatever, your direct supervisor, and then the middle management, not necessarily even your direct supervisor. It could be like a director. I guess you could consider a director administration, but I don't know. Like I know general corporate structures, but like at my company, right? We have an executive director. Then under the executive director, we have a couple of positions, and then after that, we have we have all the program directors, right? So maybe that's not middle management. Maybe it's but I consider it like upper middle management, right? The program director. And then below the program director is, if they have this, assistant program director. Then they have the supervisor, which is the true kind of middleman. Um, and then the supervisor on down, right? So the supervisor usually is someone who has experience doing the job before they became a supervisor. Because I'm a supervisor right now, and I became a supervisor by accident. I'm kind of halfway joking. But I'm kind of not joking because I didn't necessarily want to be a supervisor. It was thrown upon me at this new job. But the supervisors usually have experience doing the job, and the program directors sometimes have experience doing the job, but usually, unless they're a brand new program director, a lot of times you get these program directors who give these back in the day stories, like at my last job. Oh, I remember back in 1997 when I was an RN on the pediatric floor, and I remember the looks on those faces of those children as I was helping them do this, and it's like, okay, beautiful, but from 1997 until 2025, you haven't even talked to a patient. So I appreciate your war stories, but you're not in the war with me. So there's those like out of touch program directors, and then by the time you get on up to the administrative level, there's some people who just straight up started on administration, and the ones that didn't, a lot of them, and I mean a lot, didn't have much, if any, experience doing operations, whatever operations might be. Operations is different things with different companies. For a mental health company, it's simple. Operations is working with clients and billing for the work that you do. You spend time with them, you help them solve a problem, you take a note, it gets billed. That's operations for a mental health company. Operations for another company Could be like product sales. You work in a retail store, or you work in Verizon and you're trying to sell Verizon products, internet service, and whatever, phones, cell phones, whatever it is, wireless plans. I don't know. That's operations for that. And that's the people who are always on the ground level. So my point of saying that whole big thing. Good morning, Cass and Ed locked in. My point of saying that whole thing is I represent the operations team. I guess I somewhat represent middle management now, like for the past 3 months, maybe. Technically 5 months, but more like 3 in reality. But I'm really representing the operations team because that's what I've been doing for the better part of more than 10 years. Operations, meaning I am now getting the opportunity, and I was asked, I have the opportunity to go over to the people who make these policies and let them know this one makes sense, this one doesn't make sense. We've tried to follow this policy that you provided for us, and these were the results. This was good, this was bad, and hopefully, some of the things that I say register. Excuse me. Hopefully, some of those things that I say register with the people of the state making those policies, and it leads to a trickle down effect. Now, one thing I'll say about me now versus me at 25, I think about 25 is when I first started this kind of journey. Back then, I thought I was going to change everything. Oh, I have a 1.1K. What are those jewels? Thanks for the jewels. Skull dance. I still don't know what any of this stuff means, but thanks for giving it to me. Okay. Anyways, hi, Ma. Anyways, I used to be like, oh, I'm going to make this huge change and it's going to happen immediately and blah, blah, blah. Like, I was so excited to make all these different changes to the mental health system. I'm not trying to say that I'm not going to make changes to the mental health system by speaking, but my expectations now are a little bit different. You know, I'm not even going to try to sound, I'm not trying to sound, I sometimes worry about expressing my inner thoughts, not because of the usual reasons of privacy or anything like that, but just because my inner thoughts are different. You know, I worry about perception about things that I have to say. But here's the thing, right? I got really discouraged at a point in life when I wasn't realizing, or I wasn't getting these immediate results that I was seeking for these changes that I was asking for. To the point where I said, there's no point in me speaking about it because nothing is going to change. The way that I feel now is, especially without my dad, I'm like, losing that foundational person like that makes your life feel really finite. It makes you feel like I could go to bed tonight and wake up tomorrow, or not wake up tomorrow rather, because my dad is 66 years old, I believe. When he was 66 years old, he was seemingly healthy. He was traveling. He was taking care of himself for the most part. You know, he was good. Then one day, all of a sudden, he has a stroke, and then after he has a stroke, we're like, okay, you know, he's starting to bounce back a little bit, yada yada. And then one day, He has another stroke. We go to the doctor. The doctor says he has vascular dementia and with signs of Alzheimer's. And from there, they tell us, you had the jewels already? Hold on one second. Top fans. 1721 XP. Hold on. I had to break my thought. I don't usually do that, but 1721 XP, like somebody in the YouTube world must love cast wash wash. Um okay. Do 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 do. Yeah. So where are we going with this? Yeah, so losing someone like that, losing a foundational person like that, puts you in a place where you're like, life is really finite. I don't like to think about life that way, but I do think about life that way now. Because after that second stroke, we go to the doctor. The doctor tells us, oh, people with this condition have 3 to 5 years to live. And I don't know if any of y'all have ever gone to a doctor's office for a loved one. It doesn't have to be a parent, like any kind of loved one, right? And then the doctor is like, the doctor actually gives you an approximate amount of time that this person is going to remain alive. And you sit here and you're just like, how do you even process that? It feels like somebody had an hourglass, and then you got in the office, you had an hourglass, and they just turned the hourglass over. And then you're watching the sand fall from one side of the hourglass to the other, and you're like, it's one thing to know, okay, I'm gonna go eventually. Like everybody has their day to die. It's one thing to be like that. But it's another thing it's a whole other thing to be like, you're gonna go in this amount of time. And I didn't really understand what that felt like, because I had a friend of mine in high school who, right after high school, he lost his mother. And thing about that was that his mother had pancreatic cancer. So she was told she had 6 months to live. And as a matter of fact, I was cool. I was close. Not cool. I don't even want to say I was cool. I was close with my friend's family, and I was close with his mom. But at the age that I was like 18. It didn't really register like if it was my mom. Like if they said that about my mom, I think my reaction would be obviously it would be significantly harder for me to have heard. It was still extremely sad for me to hear that about that person's mom. Don't get me wrong, because when I first came to the U.S., they took me in as practically like an adopted family member. They used to invite me over for dinner, and they used to have me at family gatherings and stuff. Thanksgiving's coming up. Oh, you can pop over and you can bring your family over if you want, So it was very hard, but didn't register the same as being given a number of how many years my dad was going to live. And he lived for 4. And I say all that to say, once he was gone, And to me, such a kind of unexpected way, I started to say, sometimes people do great things, but the impact of those great things is not felt immediately. Sometimes they don't even live to see the impact of those great things that they do, right? Sometimes somebody put out a whole bunch of gems, let's say. They put out a whole bunch of gems in the world, right? And while they were here, everybody was just like ignoring it and ignoring it and ignoring it. Then 40, 50 years from now, somebody stumbles upon all this stuff and is like, this is genius. And posthumously, they take those things and they make them into books and they make them into video series and curriculums. So that's the way that I feel. I feel like the things that I'm saying are important. The things that I'm saying are valuable. I'm no longer seeking the immediate gratification of having those things, having the impact of those things being shown to me, like people showing me how much impact those things have right now. So I'm just happy to be doing it at all. That's my whole point of the matter, and hopefully it goes well, and see what happens from there. You never know. So please like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'm out.